Nowhere has the UN's failure been more consistent and more outrageous than its bias against our close ally, Israel. I will not go to New York and abstain when the UN seeks to create an international environment that encourages boycotts of Israel.
I'm here to say the United States will not turn a blind eye to this anymore. I'm here to underscore the ironclad support of the United States for Israel. I'm here to emphasize the United States is determined to stand up to the UN's anti-Israel bias. We will never repeat the terrible mistake of Resolution 2334 and allow one-sided Security Council resolutions to condemn Israel. Instead, we will push for action on the real threats we face in the Middle East. The double standards are breathtaking. Israel exists in a region where others call for its complete destruction, and in a world where anti-Semitism is on the rise. These are threats that we should discuss at the United Nations. It is the UN's anti-Israel bias that is long overdue for change. The United States will not hesitate to speak out against these biases in defense of our friend and ally, Israel.
And the UN has been Israel bashing for decades, and what we are trying to do is make sure that they understand there's a new administration in town. We're not going to put up with it. We're going to have the backs of Israel every time they do this.
I knew they said it was bad, but until you hear it and you see it, you just can't comprehend how ridiculous it is. And the truth is, I have seen so many similarities between the Israeli culture and the Indian culture. We're very close-knit. We love our families. We have a strong work ethic. We believe in professionalism and philanthropy and giving back. We're aggressive. We're stubborn. And we don't back down from a fight. But my concern is you are seeing a lot of love for the Iran deal in the Security Council. And that's unfortunate. And why that was ever allowed to go through, why that was ever passed is beyond me. I mean, it's terrible. You know, basically what it comes down to is I'm not there to play. And what I wanted to make sure of was that the United States started leading again, have the backs of our allies, never again do what we saw happen with Resolution 2334 and make anyone question our support. When Resolution 2334 happened and the U.S. abstained, the entire country felt a kick in the gut. We had just done something that showed the United States at its weakest point ever. Never do we not have the backs of our friends. We don't have a greater friend than Israel. And to see that happen was not only embarrassing, it was hurtful. And so what I can tell you is everyone at the United Nations is scared to talk to me about Resolution 2334. And I wanted them to know that, look, that happened, but it will never happen again. I wear heels. It's not for a fashion statement. It's because if I see something wrong, we're going to kick them every single time. The days of Israel bashing are over. But you're not going to take our #1 democratic friend in the Middle East and beat up on them. So when they decided to try and put a Palestinian in one of the highest positions that had ever been given at the UN, we said no, and we had him booted out. What it means is until the Palestinian Authority comes to the table, until the UN responds the way they're supposed to, there are no freebies for the Palestinian Authority anymore. And a ridiculous report, the Falk report, came out. I don't know who the guy is or what he's about, but he's got serious problems. So for anyone that says you can't get anything done at the UN, they need to know there's a new sheriff in town. There's nothing we can't change. So with the BDS movement that we were able to stop in South Carolina, we're going to continue to take that to the UN and make sure that they understand that is not what we need to be focused on.
It's true. You can drive from the coast of South Carolina to the upstate and see cars with the Israeli and South Carolina flags on them and going proudly. So I'm very proud that South Carolina led the nation in taking on the anti-Semitic BDS movement. We were the first in the nation to do that. In our state, we said we will not use taxpayer funds to do business with any company that discriminates on the basis of race, color, religion, gender, or national origin. And make no mistake, that is exactly what the BDS movement does. But I did not hesitate to sign the law that declared our state would not do business with people who traffic in hate. I am once again engaged in a fight against those who seek to hurt Israel. But this time, as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. The effort to delegitimize the state of Israel being waged on college campuses and the anti-Israel obsession at the UN are one and the same. They both seek to deny Israel's right to exist. They are both efforts to intimidate her friends and embolden her enemies. They are both extensions of an ancient hatred. And how tragic is it that of all countries in the world to condemn for human rights violations, these voices choose to single out Israel. It makes absolutely no sense, and it has no connection to any reasonable definition of justice. Know that the United States has Israel's back, and know that you now have a friend and a fighter in the UN to help you.